When my wife, Sarah, didn't come home that night, I tried to stay calm. I told myself she might have gone to her sister's place or stayed late at work. But as the hours passed and my calls went unanswered, worry began to turn into suspicion. By midnight, I was pacing around the living room, staring at her untouched dinner on the table. Something wasn't right, and deep down, I already knew what it was. The next morning, I checked her location through the Find My Phone app we had both installed years ago. Her phone had been at a hotel across town overnight. My heart sank. That was all the proof I needed, yet I still couldn't believe it. I stared at the screen for a long time, feeling anger, pain, and disbelief all at once. I didn't text her. I didn't call again. I just sat there in silence, realizing that 10 years of marriage might have ended without a single warning. Around noon, my phone buzzed. It was a message from her. It read, "I'm sorry, I can explain everything. Please don't do anything until we talk." I felt my hands shaking as I read those words. It wasn't even an apology filled with regret. It was a message from someone trying to control the situation. I didn't reply. Instead, I decided to let her explain in person, but in my own way. That evening, she came home, looking tired and scared. Her eyes were red, and her voice trembled as she said, "I made a mistake, but it didn't mean anything." I didn't say a word. I just looked at her and listened as she spun a story about being emotionally lost, and how it just happened. The more she talked, the colder I felt. I realized she wasn't sorry about what she did. She was sorry that she got caught. I told her I needed time to think, and she went to stay with her sister. What she didn't know was that I already had a plan forming in my mind. Over the next few days, I gathered every piece of evidence I could: hotel receipts, text screenshots, and call logs. I didn't do it for revenge yet. I did it to understand just how long this betrayal had been going on. The more I uncovered, the clearer it became that this wasn't a one-time mistake. Sarah had been seeing her coworker for months. They had taken trips together, made secret plans, and even joked about me in their messages. Reading those words was like being stabbed repeatedly. But instead of breaking down, I stayed calm. I realized that my best revenge wouldn't be yelling or fighting. It would be letting her see what she had lost without me having to lift a finger. I quietly visited a lawyer and prepared divorce papers. I also transferred my savings to a separate account that she didn't know about. We had a joint house, but I arranged with my lawyer to buy out her share once the divorce was finalized. Everything was done legally, cleanly, and without her knowing a thing. When I finally told her about the divorce, she looked shocked. "You're not even going to fight for us?" she asked, tears streaming down her face. I simply said, "You already decided to end this marriage when you chose him. I'm just finishing what you started." That silence between us was heavier than any argument we had ever had. In the following weeks, she kept messaging me, sometimes apologizing, sometimes begging, and sometimes blaming me for giving up too easily. I didn't respond to any of it. I had spent too many years trying to fix things that weren't broken by me. It was time for her to see what life was like without the man who had loved her unconditionally. A few months later, I heard from mutual friends that her affair had fallen apart. Her coworker had left her, and she was struggling to find a new place to live. I didn't feel joy hearing that. I just felt peace. Revenge, I realized, doesn't always have to be dramatic. It can be as simple as walking away and watching the truth catch up with someone. One day, she sent me another message. It said, "I wish I could take everything back. I miss you." I looked at it for a while, then deleted it without replying. That was my closure. No shouting, no confrontation, just silence that said everything words never could. As time passed, I started to rebuild my life. I focused on my work, spent more time with friends, and began finding myself again. The pain didn't disappear overnight, but every day I woke up feeling lighter. I realized that forgiveness doesn't mean letting someone back into your life. It means freeing yourself from their control. Months later, I moved to a new city for a job offer. New place, new people, new life. I didn't take any memories of Sarah with me except for the lessons she unknowingly taught me. Never let love blind you to the truth, and never let betrayal define who you are. And in the quiet of my new apartment one evening, as I looked out over the city lights, I felt a strange sense of gratitude, not for her, but for the strength I found through her betrayal. She had broken my heart, yes, but she had also set me free.